Welcome, everybody, to another live recording of the Business Travel 360 Linking the Travel Industry podcast, where we discuss travel industry news you are talking about on LinkedIn. My name is Rian. I'm one of your hosts today. I'm a co-founder at Agentivity, where we provide operational reporting and data automation solutions for travel sellers. So if that sounds of interest, please get in touch. As usual, I'm joined by Ash and Anne to help me discuss our stories with you. So over to you, Anne.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anne. I'm independent consultant with LeapShift. Happy to help you with anything related to distribution, one order, retailing, and NDC. Over to you, Ash.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ash, and I'm the host of a weekly business travel podcast called What's Up in Business Travel, where we give you only the important updates in under 15 minutes. Additionally, I'm the Vice President of Client Success at Traxo, and this is Linking the Travel Industry.
So for those new to the event, the format is purely a discussion here between myself, Ash and Anne, about some of the most commented and talked about travel industry-related stories on LinkedIn from last week. Last week was week 20, and we're going to jump straight in with our first story. Both Emirates and Singapore Airlines late on Friday, so we didn't have that in my listing. But both of them announced, again, really good profits, and as a result, they are handing out long-term and great bonuses to staff. I believe the Emirates bonus is up to 22 weeks, and the Singapore Airlines is not far behind. But this is the third year in a row that Emirates have done this, and I believe also Singapore has done this previously. We just love seeing this. It's great of them to be doing this. So it's also the right thing, right, Ash?
It sure is. One of the questions in the post that you're citing says, what would you do with a 22-week bonus? And so I started thinking I could do quite a bit actually with that. And, part of it also was that, Rian, I was kind of like, okay, so they're giving this big bonus out. Does that mean that the average salary of an employee is not that high? So I went and looked up the average salary. I did my conversion to USD. They get paid pretty good. And then, of course, somebody else posted it's tax-free. So this is really, really amazing amount of money for everybody that works at Emirates. Super proud. I mean, this is what, if you do things well, and you take care of customers. I was at ProcureCon last week, and one of the travel managers mentioned how their travelers try so hard to get on Emirates, circumvent the policy, come up with the reasons why. And she was like, Emirates really has stolen the hearts of my travelers, and this proves it.
Next story, interesting investment development happening in the US. Both Delta and Korean Air are investing in Canadian airline WestJet. Both Delta and Korean are part of SkyTeam, so I don't know what that implies. And do you think there's any implication there for SkyTeam, or is it just sensible investment by those two airlines?
I think it's a very sensible investment, and I think it's very good for SkyTeam. As you know, it's the alliance that sort of is somewhat behind. So I think that hooking up with WestJet is great for the North American customer. Your thoughts, Ash?
I totally agree with Anne. And by the way, just to put this in perspective, Delta owns 49% of Virgin Atlantic, covering the Atlantic side. They own 49% of Aeromexico, covering the southern side. And now they're going into WestJet with Korean and doing a 25% combined stake. And so I would not be surprised if Delta ends up making that number as high as 49% or whatever is admissible. They're kind of like the Lufthansa of North America in many ways, own a little bit of everything. And then eventually you have one big airline. And this is a great way for Delta to go after Star Alliance and United, because of course, United is very much aligned with Air Canada.
Our next story stays in the US. This is a bit of a tit for tat there between American, Chicago O'Hare, and United. Chicago O'Hare Airport wants to make some changes, and that includes an area of expansion, and that will actually give United Airlines more gates, as I understand the story, and American is not happy about it, so they are filing a lawsuit. So that's all I know about it, Ash. I don't know if you have any more information or give us another perspective.
I think at American Airlines, there seems to be this common theme of suing people. I'm not really sure what's happening there. Maybe the legal team is in-house and they don't have to care about legal bills, so you can sue all day long. Suing United for O'Hare is a little bit silly. It is United's hub. Of course, United is going to have a little bit of preferential treatment. It's their hub, no different than American has at Dallas. Same exact situation. And American was very, very strong at Chicago O'Hare for many years. They pulled back from Chicago. And we see United kind of filling in those slots and taking over certain gates and adding more services. So if American is unhappy about it, I think that they should just blame themselves on this one.
Our next story is all about airline orders and plane orders. There were quite a few announcements last week. The first one came out from the International Airlines Group, who placed an order for 71 long-haul aircraft, not all with Boeing, also some with Airbus, but that's for their various airlines. And then Boeing really scored big with a mega order from Qatar Airways, announcing a 210 wide-body aircraft order. And later in the week, we also saw that Etihad placed orders for an additional 28, specifically Boeing airplanes as well. So an incredible amount of orders, huge order book that they have to now attend. And do you think they'll deliver?
Certainly hope so. But my comment is, it's kind of interesting. We see in IAG, right? We see that the European airlines there with Airbus and then British Airways with Boeing. I guess this is also related to the trade deal between the UK and the US.
So really good business there for Boeing. Ash, your thoughts on this?
Trump goes to Qatar, and next thing you know, we are getting orders for Boeing. So it's a magical thing to have happened. And I think Boeing definitely needs this. I mean, they have new leadership there. As long as their focus is safety first, I think that Boeing will be okay fulfilling the order as well, Rian, to that point. And, you know, Qatar is going to pay. So it's not like the money won't come.
They'll pay, absolutely. Another development I saw last week, which generated quite a lot of comments, is between Sabre as the GDS and a company called Trustly. And Trustly puts themselves out as a pay-by-bank specialist. This is their focus, so that you don't use a card for payment, but you can use a bank account for transfers. And apparently this development is going to focus on increasing the ability for settlement within travel sellers and travel buyers to be by bank account. And is there more to this than I read? It is a good thing, right?
It's a great thing. Again, I'm so impressed that we're seeing so much happening in payment. I'm also happy to see that Sabre is out there and there's quite a bit of buzz because they for sure also need it. It's great that we see so much happening in payments. It's at record speed, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So all positive.
Very good. I just want to take a brief moment to turn to our audience. We're not done. We've got plenty more to talk about, but it is a Monday and you're giving us your time. The room is nice and full. So I just want to say thank you. We appreciate your support. Please tell us where you are listening from and maybe just a quick comment and we'll get your name on screen, which ideally could also increase your connections, which is our ulterior motive here. We want to get as many of us connected as possible. So please do comment or just shout out where you're listening from and we'll get your name on screen. Thank you so much for giving us your time on a Monday and your support. There's an interesting announcement on Google's, LinkedIn feeds. They say they are teaming up with SAP Concur and MXGBT to push NDC adoption. And the whole notion here is if the NDC and the Artifact Fair is like for like, they will go NDC first. It'll be their choice. That will be their push there to get that done. I commented on the story, and I think, Ash, you would have read my comment. I said my gut feeling here tells me that pushing it like that, if the decision is unfair, I just don't think it's the right thing to be doing. It left me a little bit uneasy. There need to be better reasons for us to push NDC adoption, was my gut feeling. I wasn't criticizing it. I said, great for doing it, but there's just a gut feeling that I think there should be more. So, Ash, what did you make of this announcement?
Well, I agree with you. And you have a good point when you say what you said on the post and your comment there. I also think that sometimes you just need that little extra just to tip the scales a little bit, a little extra to move things forward. And we know that NDC for sure is a better way to handle travel and to move travel forward. So I think that preferencing on the NDC side is definitely good. If you remember, Amex GBT announced that they hit 1 million transactions on NDC. I also wonder with the Concur piece, is Amex GBT going to move this forward with their other corporate booking tools? Because I would imagine Amex GBT doesn't want to make this available through Neo and other products that they offer outside of Concur as well.
I see Robert Bray, the head of travel at Google, liked my comment and he's replying. But yeah, it would be interesting to follow this development. IPO news. So Saudi Arabian-based low-cost carrier Flynaz, they've managed to raise $1.1 billion in its IPO. This IPO was widely expected to reach that amount, so they were very successful. I have flown Flynaz before, and I can tell you they do need that $1.1 billion to improve stuff. So let's hope that's where it goes. It's a very busy, packed airline. And then the much talked about debut flights, indirectly debut flight of Global Airlines, a startup airline, an airline that's been in the making for a few years now, that wants to redefine air travel. That took off between Glasgow and New York. I believe they're flying back today. The flight did take off. Only managed to get 95 people on board. And subsequently to that, we've seen a few video reviews where it wasn't necessarily redefining. Lots of questions, lots of unanswered questions still. The speculation is that they had to get a flight going in order to continue with funding. So that was a deadline they had to meet, and it was operated for them by Portuguese operator Highfly, because Global, as of date, still doesn't have an airline operator certificate. So, Anne, you and I have been talking a lot about Global and what it really is and what it's not. But anyway, the flight went. What did you make of it?
I can't get my head around it. I just don't get this. There's so much speculation, and I shouldn't really be speculating.
I wasn't going to comment, but look at this guy on Rian's screen. I mean, does this guy look like a CEO? He looks like somebody stepped out of bed or something. Like, this is the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, wait till you see the stickers on the Sky Pub cabinet. That's unprofessional. There was another story on my list, which is about Finnair. This was a very talked about story, but it's about Finnair. They made these claims that they are now the first airline globally to implement an offers and order model. Their CEO made a booking on Finnair.com, and apparently that went through their offer system that was powered by Amadeus Nevio. And they got a lot of talk and chat. Quite a few people reminding them that technically this wasn't the first, but Anne, why don't you tell us about that?
There are two PSSs in the world that are order-based. One is, of course, owned by Flyer, and the other one is Teak Systems. Both systems have, of course, airlines hosted on them, and so technically no. I remember that the airline Flyr in Norway they also announced being the first airline in the world being fully on one order, because that's what you're trying to announce, right? That you are on one order.
Yep.
What I find interesting about this is the lack, again, of, same as with NDC, the lack of transparency, the lack of willingness of describing what it is you have done. I think I made some comments asking, are there tickets or no tickets? What does the reservation actually look like? I think it would be so much more helpful if we could get some more transparency on this.
Okie dokie. And then I believe, Ash, you might have a bit of... Is that right?
That is right. So real quick, few good stories to know about. SpaceX has gotten approval to increase their Starship launch rate. So this is a big deal. Now they can launch up to 25 Starships per year. This is 5x more than what they had before. So big time news there. And related to that is the fact that SpaceX, this launch site called Starbase, has now been approved as an official city in America. And Amazon is getting into the satellite business, Rian. So SpaceX has Starlink, Amazon has Kuiper. So what's really cool about this is that they're planning to launch over 3,000 low-orbit satellites into space.
Yeah.
So
is there space in space for all that stuff?
A lot of space in space,
yes.
So we'll be good. And then Starlink is getting approval for India as well. So a few good stories in the world of space news.
Very good. As long as that India hookup doesn't reduce my bandwidth, I'm all for it. So yes, I'm enjoying it as well. So we're coming to you via space today as well. So I do think, guys, that's a wrap for today. Brilliant interaction from our audience there today. We really love that. So super, guys. Thank you so much for that and listening to us from around the world. We love that. So, Anne, enjoy your event. Over to you.
Thanks, everyone. It's amazing to see the global coverage. And thank you for helping us out when we don't know enough. And obviously our expert, amazing audience do. Over to you, Ash.
Thank you all for joining today's live recording of Linking the Travel Industry. We record this podcast live every week on Monday, and we ask that you share this event with others that you know. Chances are high that if you enjoyed today's session, those that you know will as well. If you ever miss a show because of time zone or availability, the podcast is available on businesstravel360.com. This is Linking the Travel Industry, signing off.